Welcome everybody to the drivers' press conference ahead of the FIA Formula One Bahrain Grand Prix. We've got the usual two groups coming your way, and as you can see, left to right, Carlos Sainz, Kimi Antonelli and Jack Doohan. Carlos, hello there. Why don't we start with you? Now, it feels like we have yet to see the best of Carlos Sainz in a Williams. Just talk us through these opening three races so far and what the issues have been.
Yeah, well, if you expect to see the best of Carlos Sainz at Williams in the third race in a new car, then yeah, you don't understand the sport very well, or you know at least how long it might take to a driver to actually get fully up to speed with a car and to fully understand where the last tenth and a half or last 2/10 of each car lies on. No? But looking back at the first three races, I think I still haven't yet put a full weekend together. The speed has been there in Australia and Suzuka. In China, I had a bit of a off weekend through many different reasons. But to be honest, in Australia and Suzuka, I think I was pretty quick, especially given that I'm still new to the car, to manage to be close or in the same tenth as Alex all the way through quali. I think it's a good start to start the season. I just need to make sure now we start doing less mistakes when it comes to executing the weekend, and keep improving my speed, because obviously I believe the speed is still, we can improve it a little bit, but yeah, we are not as far as it seems. I feel like we just need to put a full weekend together and it will come.
How useful is it for you to be coming back to a track where you've tested this car already?
Very useful, especially because here in testing I felt very comfortable with the car. Actually, it's a balance and a car that I've been looking forward to target in the recent races. Given I was not as happy in China, I looked back at the test to the setup that we were running here, and I was keen, together with the team, to try and put the car somewhere closer to the way it felt in Bahrain test, because there I felt like I was up to speed and driving fairly natural, and I didn't have to think so much while driving. While in China, I remember, and even in Suzuka, I've been having to really break my head to understand how to drive the car and to extract all the performance from it. So, but yeah, you first need to go through these weekends where you have a bit more of a challenging time to understand that and reverse engineer that. So that takes time. You know, it's 24 races. We've only done 3, and obviously everyone expect me to be straight up in the pace, which is a good thing. It means people value me and expect high things of me. But I was the first one that after Bahrain test, when I was P1, I was like, I'm nowhere near where I need to be still with this car to perform at the level that I want to perform. So I was the first one calming down expectations and knowing that the first quarter of the year was going to be tough, and especially with a guy like Alex pushing hard and doing such a good job, obviously it always takes a bit of time to get to that level. So I'm calm. I'm just down to my work, doing my things, and it will come.
Carlos, can we just explore that a little bit deeper? You say you were happy with the car in the test. What then happened in the races that made you, struggles not the right word, but made it more difficult for you?
Yeah, you know, just sometimes you jump into a Formula One car and you're just naturally quick. Whatever you do to the car, the lap time comes easy. And I felt that was the case in Abu Dhabi test last year and in Bahrain test this year. I didn't need to think while driving, and I felt like as soon as I jumped in the car, I was quick, actually quicker even than what I thought I would be. I was surprisingly quick in my own expectations where I was. And then we went into Australia, the balance changed a bit, the tarmac changes quite a bit from Bahrain to Australia, China and Japan, with all this resurface that has been done, and the car just feels completely different. The through corner balance is different, and you're just a bit stuck on what do I do now to my driving, or what do I do now to the car to go that one more tenth quicker, because as I said, I was not far. I was within a tenth, and yeah, that's where you start digging into the data and you start working with your engineers, but you need to go through this whole process to actually get to a conclusions and to understandings, and that takes time. So and takes experiences and races, no. But as I said, I'm calm, I'm happy, and we're getting there.
All right, many thanks for that. Thank you. Kimi, let's come to you now. 4th, 6th, 6th, including the fastest ever racing lap around Suzuka on Sunday. Can we get your assessment of how it's gone so far?
I mean, so far I think went pretty well. The thing I was the happiest is the consistency I had throughout the 3 races, and keep trying to improve weekend by weekend. Of course, every weekend is a massive learning for me. Especially learning about the tire, I think was really helpful, and I think it's going to be really helpful to have the same compound this weekend as well, compared to Suzuka, just because I'm understanding more and more the tire. And I think in the first, especially couple of races, I really struggled with warm-up when it was coming to qualifying. And I think Suzuka was a big step forward on that side. So obviously, massive learning. And but so far, I'm happy with how he's going. Of course, George is driving really well, and it's really helping me to develop and push myself even further. But I'm happy because I'm getting there slowly.
George is having his best ever start to a season in Formula One. When you look at his data and compare your data, where are the big areas where you feel you can still improve?
Well, I think, it's because now he has quite a bit of experience with the car and, in F1 in general. What the main difference is, like, you can see the confidence he has, especially, he knows how to place the car and also where the car is going to end up in a corner while pushing. So there's a lot of knowledge and confidence as well. But I think Suzuka was a really big step for me in terms of confidence and understanding the car. And so I'm really looking forward to this weekend because obviously it's a track that I know. And obviously condition will be much, much different compared to what we had in testing because it's going to be much, much hotter. But I'm looking forward to see what we can do during the weekend.
You're used to the heat from Formula 2 here, aren't you? Look, what are your goals for this weekend?
Well, keep the positive trend, keep improving the qualifying pace, because I think the speed is there, but it's more about being able to put all the dots together, starting from the warm-up and then the lap itself. But yeah, keep the positive trend, and then obviously keep working hard, and then we'll see what the result's going to be on Sunday.
All right, Kimi, thank you very much for that. Jack, let's come to you now. You've shown really good speed this year, but you haven't had the smoothest run so far. Can we just get your summary of how it's gone?
Yeah, I think you summarized it quite well, to be honest. I look forward to just having that clean weekend, putting it all together. And this weekend we have a perfect opportunity. We have a full race weekend again, and I look forward just to coming back to Bahrain, as the others have touched on. Somewhere we were testing, albeit I think 25 degrees hotter here today. So it's going to be much completely different, and car balance, feeling, grip's going to feel terrible. A lot of things that are going to be coming after FP. But I look forward just to cracking on. We're now at, I think, round 4. So we're starting to get into it, and this back-to-back triple header is going to be nice just to keep the flow.
How does the Bahrain test at the end of February help you this weekend? What do you not have to do this weekend that you have to do when you go to a track for the first time?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, Bahrain test was a good place to learn the car initially. I wasn't exactly super happy leaving the test in general, but now we know, especially the areas that we, let's say, needed to work on, and at least the ballpark window and where we're going to start. We definitely won't be setting the car up where we ended up on one of the evening sessions at 10 degrees, but certainly trying to target maybe a little bit more at the end of one of those AM sessions, and plus a few things that we found post in the simulator.
All right, Jack, many thanks for that. Thank you to all of you. Let's now open this up to the broadcasters first of all. First question, David.
Yeah, a couple of questions actually, if that's all right. First and foremost, Jack, are you okay? Last time we saw you getting out of the car in Suzuka, you were holding your left-hand side a little bit. Is everything all right? Are you fully recovered now?
Yeah, just wimping. Just, no, 100%. All
Good.
completely perfect. Yeah, thank you, Crofty.
Good man. That's what we like to see. And Carlos, to get back to you, what are the Ferrari habits you're having to unlearn in this Williams car?
I think, to be honest, Crofty, they're a bit too technical to explain them in a press conference.
Try me and keep it simple.
We can try and sit with a piece of data in front of us and on board, and I can maybe explain it to you. So, yeah, I'd rather not go into that level of detail of the little things that you need to do with your driving style to extract the most out of each car. Obviously, a Ferrari had a certain car balance, a certain direction that we followed after 3 or 4 years of developing that car that required you to brake in a certain manner, turn in a certain manner, release the brake in a certain place, which you fall into a trap of obviously 3 years of muscle memory of doing everything that way. And when you jump into a different car, and especially under pressure in quali, you try and find the last 2/10 of the car, you fall into your muscle memory, because that's the muscle memory that you have from 3 years, no? And it's not that you need to unlearn them, because those traits are actually making me very quick also in other type of corners. But you need to remember in a certain type of corner to not do it, no? And that's why it's impossible almost to ask anyone to be quick on the first 3 races with a car when you are only putting it the first sets of soft tires and 0 kilos of fuel for the first time in those first 3 races. Completely different track, completely different conditions, completely different tarmacs, and you're having to relearn a lot of these things, no? And as I said, given how new everything is for me, to be on the same 10th in quali as a guy like Alex in Australia, and in a confidence track like Suzuka, is actually, I'm not in a bad place. It's just I need to make sure I put the whole weekend together with the penalties, with finding the lap time exactly in Q2, because now Q2 for us is the lap of your life, with the field within 2/10 in Q2. So if you don't put the lap in that moment of Q2, your weekend is over, because you start 12th instead of P9. You cannot overtake in Suzuka, and you cannot overtake in the midfield. So it's the very small details that need to come together.
Thanks, Carlos. Yeah, next one.
Nelson Volkmer for Viaplay, for Andrea Kimi Antonelli. Last week in Suzuka, you were closer to George than you've been before. Great race pace, tire management. That's not going to be easy here on this track with tarmac that's older than you are.
Yeah, that's funny actually. Yeah, it's going to be completely different. I mean, Suzuka was cold, new surface in Sector 1. So obviously it was changing a lot, the way you had to manage the tire. I mean, Sector 1 during the race was flat out the whole race. And honestly, you didn't really have to manage that much throughout the rest of the lap. Just because I think also Pirelli improved the tire quite a lot from last year. And it seems like that is much more robust, the tire, so you're able to push, and was nice. I mean, in Suzuka, it was nice to have a stint like that where I didn't really have to worry much about tire management, and I was able to push. So that was really good fun. But yeah, this weekend it's going to be completely different. I mean, I think this is the most open tarmac we have during the season, as it's one of the oldest as well. It's going to be much hotter, also compared to the test. So obviously, tire management is going to be a really big topic, especially for the race. So it's going to be a bit of a different story. And also with the mindset, it's going to be important to change the mindset, especially in order to be able to manage the tire the best.
Thank you, Kimi. Yep, next one.
Hello, Panos Eitanidis from Antena TV Greece. A question for Carlos. You said you need some time to adapt in this car, but after seeing Alex having 3-point scoring races consecutive, how confident do you feel about this Williams and the foundations you are building even for next year?
Yeah, very confident. I think Alex has been able to extract the maximum out of the car these last 3 races, and all the progress that we've made during the winter since we changed the car since I arrived. All the setup directions that we've been taking, it's also leading into those positive results. And there's a lot more to come in this team. I can tell you already, it's amazing the amount of work that there's being done back in the factory, the level of performance that we've managed to add to the car since last year to this year. I think it's just in a very positive trend and in a very good direction, something that extremely motivates me to try and help and try to contribute as much as possible. I'm doing it in other ways right now, rather on points. I wish I could do it also in points, but points will come during the season. But I'm very motivated. I'm very impressed with all the steps that the team is doing.
Thank you, Carlos. Any more from the... Yeah, Albert.
Yeah, Albert Fábrega, ESPN LATAM. After to see how difficult it was to overtake in Japan, do you think that the 2 mandatory stops implemented this year in Monaco could be a good solution for other races? A question for you all three.
Jack, why don't we bring you in on that?
I think not necessarily for all races, especially in my case, in Suzuka, I was very happy that it wasn't. But no, I think it's difficult to say. You know, we have circuits that are higher, have a higher rate of chance of overtakes and less, and especially that was, you know, such unique circumstances of the conditions, how cold it was. Sector 1, which is usually somewhere which is so crucial on tire management. Now we saw it with the new surface, which, you know, we could push flat out on, so we didn't really have so many corners that we're struggling with management. So I think it was quite unique. I reckon we're going to be surprised come Sunday night here in this heat with, I think, 38 kph gusts coming, and the topic of tire management or complaining will be maybe a little bit different.
Kenny?
Yeah, I mean, nothing more to add. I mean, I think Suzuka, you know, it's an amazing circuit to drive, but obviously to racing is quite difficult because, you know, the car is getting more efficient. You're able to run less downforce with the rear wing, so the DRS effect is even less. So, you know, it's even harder to overtake. And plus, Suzuka has got only one DRS zone, and especially also to follow is not that easy because you go the first sector, which is super quick, and with the dirt here is really hard to keep up. And then, you know, you only got one shot in the main straight, but at the same time, T1 is not a corner where you brake much. You know, so it's really, I think it's really dependent on the circuit. And but I think this weekend is going to be a completely different story, and especially with the strategy, is going to be a lot different and a lot more to play.
Yeah, I think first of all, fair play for Pirelli. I think doing a step in we've always asked them for the tires to degrade less and be less sensitive to overheating. They've done a step, and this year so far we can push more in the race. Now we are back into easy one-stop races, and we are complaining that there's not enough deck, and we want more deck. So first of all, I think F1 needs to get all together to kind of follow a bit the same narrative, because we ask for one thing, the product improves, and then suddenly we all complain again. It's a bit of a mess, if you ask me. What creates overtaking, in my opinion, is to have a delta to the car in front. If you're only 1/10 quicker in F1, you're never going to pass. You need to be 5, 6, 7 tenths quicker than the car in front around Suzuka to overtake. And the only way to generate that in Suzuka is with degradation. You cannot generate anything else. No. And so I would be happy if they're going to maybe go a step softer in compounds, given that the tire is more robust. Going softer in compound will increase degradation and increase a bit the chance of overtaking. But if you go for the 3 compound in a track like Suzuka, for example, you'll have flat out racing with the 3 compounds and the pit stop laps always more or less same way that we all stopped in 1 lap. I think you will not get a tire delta or an overtaking delta. So for me, it's more trying to make sure the races are always between a 1 and a 2 stop, because like that you will have teams trying to do 1 stops with high degradation and other teams running faster on a 2 stop to try and overtake and make it to a flag. So that's my opinion, but as I said, we need to kind of all organize a bit our thoughts and give Pirelli a more of a clear understanding and target.
All right, thank you, Carlos. Yeah, Nelson, back to you.
Question for Jack. Last week you missed FP1 for a rookie session, even though you're a rookie yourself. For a driver that's now no longer part of the same program, were you surprised, and how was it communicated to you that you weren't going to take part in that session, even if you needed the track time?
Yeah, no, I was sort of something that was to my knowledge very early on in the year, you know, way before testing, before the start of the year. So, you know, there were reasons around the positioning of that FP1, and you know, very early on, I know these things were not in my control. So you just suck it up and push on and take it as it comes.